Geekbox Forum's community podcast. This is episode 10 for the week of April 9, 2012. This week we discuss different video games we've been playing, talk about the different Star Trek series, make wild speculations on the upcoming movie Prometheus, and discuss this week's Moviebox pick, Death Race 2000. Hello and welcome to alltalk. This is episode 10. I am Mark, aka Dakazu, and who is with me?
Hi, this is David, Darfox8.
Hey, this is Kenzo.
Jake, Mr. X.
And Andrew, Totoro.
Welcome back, Kenzo, Kenneth.
You said that all, mean? There's some hostility in your voice.
What? No, I was being sincere.
It sounds like you hate Kenzo.
I know you love me, baby.
Is he the heel?
No, you're the heel, David.
Okay.
No, he's the toe.
Right, so we're talking about
part
first
of a
today.
foot. Games.
Alright, video games.
We're going to start off by talking about games because we've all been playing different games. Who wants to start with the games that they've been playing?
Well, how about me and you? Because
Okay.
we've been playing the same games.
Yes, Jake and I have been playing, let's start with Shoot Many Robots.
Yeah, that just came out on Friday on Steam and probably Xbox Live Arcade. I don't know, I'm assuming.
Alright, so what is this game?
It is it's 3D, but it's side-scrolling, so it's like 2.5D, I guess, technically. And
Graphics are in 3D. They look very close to Borderlands type cel-shaded graphics and aesthetics.
And you go from left to right, kind of like Contra.
Yeah, and basically Contra is a good way of summing it up. And
You shoot many robots.
you shoot a ton of robots. It's
so
co-op,
many robots.
up to 4 players. There's a lot of carnage, a lot of different weapons, a lot of different loot and items that you equipped. A lot of them are silly, and it's just a lot of fun.
You level up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I got up to 31 in a couple hours.
And then you pick up
Levels.
these coupons so you can buy new items at the store.
Coupons.
And the new items have different types of there's shotguns and machine guns.
Rocket launchers, freeze rays, flamethrowers.
The homing missile is a gnome launcher. It's a lot of wackiness.
What? Like a garden gnome?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a homing gnome that flies and then heat seeks.
Is this a type of game where you lose your level and equipment every single time you start up the game, or did you
No,
keep that?
it's persistent.
Yeah.
And there's other equipment like hats and backpacks and pants.
Whoa. Mark likes a game that has hats as...
He
Well-
likes the hats.
Listen, the reason you guys are bringing this up because I don't like hats in TF2 because they are just cosmetic and I don't really care for them. I could give less
Not
than two
all of
shits.
them. Some of the hats have
Some of the
stats.
hats have stats stuff,
Most
which is
minor
fine, but
of
most of them
dumb
are just
stats.
most of them are just aesthetic.
Complete
In this
the set.
game, it's loot based, so it's just like Diablo. The items that you get,
But it's
they buff
side-scrolling.
your stats. Yeah, it's side scrolling.
Yeah, it's like Contra meets Diablo.
Now, when you say Contra, is it just straight up 2D plane, or is it kind of like a
2D.
is it kind of like Streets of Rage, where there's you
No.
can go up and down too,
Like Contra.
as well as jumping? Okay.
Yeah, the only con I have about the game so far, and we've only played 3-4 hours, Jake.
Yeah, something like that.
The only con is some of the environments are starting to repeat.
Yep. We cleared three or four areas, and then we went to the next area, and then it was the same as the first area.
Just with harder difficulty enemies, but it's a minor complaint. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still really enjoying the game.
Who makes this game?
I am not sure. Let me check.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's $10 on Steam right now. Like Jake said, I'm not sure if it's on Xbox Live Arcade. One interesting thing, this doesn't have you would think this would have controller support. It doesn't. It's only for mouse and keyboard right now.
Yeah, that seems like that would lend itself really well to the controller style.
Yeah, I keep pressing W to jump because I just figured since A and D are left and right, W would be jump, but no,
Sure.
W is switch weapons. It's kind of awkward.
So was jump like space or something?
Yep.
Okay.
Wikipedia is telling me that it is also available on the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade. So there you go.
It's published
go.
by Ubisoft, and the developer is Demiurge Studios.
How
One
is,
weird thing-
Urge.
how is this game possibly rated M? What? Doesn't even look that ridiculous.
It's
Well,
for
like
robot-related violence.
The health potions are beer. You know, it's kind of like
Well,
That's weird.
there is a certain Penny Arcade character that likes
Oh,
fruits,
yeah,
Fruit
yeah.
fucker.
Oh, okay.
He
And
humps things.
and
How
he's a
does-
hat.
So you
and he
humping your head?
does, yes.
Oh man.
That's cute.
There's a
So
lot
they
of
just,
weird
they just wanted
loot in
an
it.
rating.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's like you can get the Gordon Freeman outfit from
Well,
Half-Life.
Well, I think that was a pre-order bonus.
I thought one of the other pre-order bonuses was you got something in TF2 as well.
Yes, you got a backpack.
Actually, Jake, right before we started recording, I was playing I Got the Glasses, so I think you can pick
Nice.
them up as well.
The Gordon Freeman glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Awesome.
So I hear you guys have also been playing some racing games too.
Yeah, we've been playing Mario Kart, aka Blur.
Yeah, that was cheap on Steam this week.
Yeah, it was cheap. Biggie got it for me and you for free, Drew.
Yeah.
He
Bunch
bought it
of
for us.
Freeloaders.
Well, I'm still poor until like here in a few weeks when I get paid for my new job, so I definitely appreciate it.
And
I
it's,
do as
it's a
well.
really fun game.
I've
But,
heard it's just
um,
Mario Kart with like real cars.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
I haven't really played too much Mario Kart. Is there a way to avoid like weapons, like black weapons in Mario Kart?
Kind of, but not really. Like
You
you
can
can have
jump
like
over them.
Well, you can't avoid the blue shell.
Well, in this, you can like block the equivalent of the blue shell using other
There's
weapons.
a shield weapon in this game.
Well, that's
It
not.
just
And
shields you.
and you can always just shoot whatever weapon you have backwards, and that will take out the thing.
That you
Yeah,
can do
well,
in
Mario
Mario
Kart that
Kart.
too.
Well, I also found that if you kind of like, kick out the back end and you drift a little bit, that'll throw it off as well.
Yeah, well, and there's that. Basically, anything you can shoot out will hit it. So if you drop a mine behind you, that'll stop it. Or that little like shockwave weapon. So there's some strategy to it. If you're in the
Right.
lead, it's always good to keep some things on you so you can stop those missiles.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
Kenzo, like you said, it's Mario Kart with real cars.
It's totally
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
And it's fun.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. But
do
Andrew,
they
what
got
do you
Baby
think?
Park?
You were playing it with mouse and
Mouse
keyboard.
and keyboard, yeah, because well, I don't have a gamepad like dedicated for my computer, and I know that I've had it suggested to me to just use like a
PS3.
PS3 controller. Yeah, so but it's like I know where my PS3 controller is, but I don't know where the cable that charges it is. Or
How do you not
connects
have
it
like
to the.
50 of those laying around?
Well, I only have the
Well,
one.
he moved. He backed it
Yeah.
all up, and it's probably not
Okay.
unpacked yet.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm running into right now is that just a bunch of my stuff's just not unpacked.
And you're a Mac user, so you don't get things that have USB cables, I guess.
No, everything has USB cables. It's just that they aren't kind of standard. You know, it's
Proprietary.
like yeah, it's the micro USB. Although while we're talking about that, I really like the iPod, iPad, iPhone dock connector because it's solid. I've had a lot of Blackberries in my previous job break on me, especially around the cable area, the charging cable area. Just like the thing falls out. So
I like
just,
the power plug on the MacBooks where it's magnetic.
Yep, the Mac Plus. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Snore.
This is riveting.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Blur.
This is why I wanted Kenzo on.
Blur is interesting. Like the different like tracks, you can only use certain cars on specific tracks.
Yeah, but that's kind of just like a class thing. That's like a lot of other racing games, though.
Yeah, but that's unlike Mario Kart, I think.
Tell me,
Yeah.
is there a baby park? That's all I want to know.
A park
there a
full of
baby park?
babies?
No. In Mario Kart, there's a track called Baby Park where it's just like one really tiny loop
Oh, and
where you go
it's like
over
7
and over
laps.
and over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Probably. I don't
Maybe.
remember seeing it.
I remember that one map that ended really short. I would say that would be.
Well, there
like
is
Baby
one
Park.
map where it's just fight to the death, and it's just a big like bowl. There's no actual track to it. We didn't play that. I played that on the 360 version
That's
when I was
not
in the
Baby
beta.
Park.
Oh, one truck that was really interesting was there was a downhill race,
Oh yeah.
and like there was no laps. It was just get from the top of the hill to the bottom.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like,
It
this
was like
isn't
initial
even a
D,
circuit.
like
Yeah, that was
going downhill
fun.
drifting.
I had a lot
Ooh,
of fun
Initial
playing
D.
that.
Yeah, initial D, Japanese car racing manga, video game, anime.
Drifting.
Yeah,
silliness.
I'm pretty sure it's just initialed. I'm
Ha
giving you
ha.
ha ha ha.
I actually
yeah.
don't even know why it's called Initial D.
It's for drift, D for drift. I don't know. It's dumb. I hate that
Initialize your
manga.
drift.
Oh, initiating a drift or something.
The art is horrible.
Initialize your dreams.
That's
Alright,
it.
so
Nailed
that
it.
was that game. Dark Fox, what are you playing?
I'm playing the Metal Gear Solid HD collection.
Woohoo!
It is like the best thing I've bought in a long time. I don't know if you guys remember a while back, Ryan Scott was talking on the podcast on Geekbox that it was like his favorite game of 2011, and Karen Chu was being a poopy head.
Well, no,
I'd be
she was
like,
right. That game
No.
is a compilation
No.
of older games. No, that
Yeah,
does
sounds
not
like
count.
still better than all the games that
Yeah.
came out that year.
Except it
Look,
wasn't at all. I will
Listen,
fight
you
you.
haven't played
2011,
any
we
of
had
them.
Dark Souls.
Yeah,
You know
Portal
what?
2.
You know what? You fuck everyone. The greatest game of all time then is the Orange Box.
Well,
This
obviously.
is the Orange
the
Box,
Orange
but
Box-
better.
Exactly. Listen, this game, the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, is a product that came out in 2011, and of all the things I bought in 2011, it's the best one of them. So that's why it's my favorite game of 2011.
Portal 2 came out in 2011.
You're a fucking animal, by the way. Platinumed every single one of those games. What is wrong with you?
I'm still not doing Peace Walker. I need to clean up a few trophies, but I got through the hardest part, which was S ranking all the games. I mean, all
Wait,
the
what?
other
David, what
levels.
comes in that collection? You
There's-
get Metal Gear Solid 1.
No,
No,
not
Metal Gear
one.
Solid
No,
2.
no, no.
Oh, you don't get one?
No, it's
No.
just
2,
Jap-
3, and Peace Walker?
In Japan,
Yes.
you got a download code for one, but it's not.
Off PSN?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, if they
Okay.
were cool, they would have included the Twin Snakes GameCube version.
Except they couldn't because that would require licensing and stuff with another company.
Probably Nintendo.
Well,
Sulcan Knights.
Yeah, there's Nintendo and Silicon Knights.
Dennis Dyack would not go for it.
Well,
He
Nintendo
probably
wouldn't go
would
for
go for it.
Yoshi's
He'd be like,
on
"Give
a,
me
Nin-
money.
on
I
a
need
Nintendo
money."
console.
Are you? Yeah. What was his game? What fucking Two Human or some shit?
Yep.
Yeah, so human.
Oh god.
That game was
That one talk about a steaming pile of shit.
Nope.
I don't think it was a steaming pile of shit, but it wasn't.
If
that
it would have
good.
just had normal combat instead of, I'm going to push the stick this way and I'm going to slide across the screen. And it would have been fun because it was all loot based and everything.
If it
I
was
don't
Metal
even
Gear,
think
then it
the
would have been
combat was
better.
bad. I thought the multiplayer was bad, which is what it was based on.
Well, and then the death mechanic was horrible, like the death
Oh
animation.
yeah, that was really bad.
Okay,
Uh,
so
Uh,
Darfox, explain to me why
David.
you think, David, explain to me why this is better than Portal 2.
Portal 2 is a really cool game that is pretty funny. It's actually really funny sometimes, but this brings like 3 of the top games ever, in my opinion.
Except
Like
it
when
has
the-
Metal Gear Solid 3 in it, and that alone
You're stupid.
kind of ruins it, because
Yeah.
that is like one of the worst games ever made.
That is the best
Uh,
game ever made. Are you
yeah.
fucking kidding me?
Mark?
Whatever. I agree that Metal Gear Solid 3 is the worst Metal Gear, but
What?
this is David's opinion on why it was his game of the year of 2011, so I'm fine with that.
You can have wrong opinions.
Yes.
Sure, maybe, but the last thing I'll say about it is that the trophies are really cool. You know, I'm not like the biggest fan of trophies, but I do enjoy collecting them for the games that I like, and it's really cool replaying these games with like trophies because even though I've played through each of the games a bunch of times, these trophies led me to do certain things that I didn't really bother doing. Like in Mega Solid 3, you could throw a snake at the enemy guard. I never really did that. I didn't find that really funny, so I never tried it. But I tried it, and they had like a unique animation for it and everything, so it was kind of interesting. Same thing with like these radio frequencies that you could call it the codec. I never really bothered doing that, and it's actually kind of cool. So even for like a long time fan of the series, you've played this game a billion times, it's worth picking up for the graphics and for the trophies, in my opinion.
How long did
That's
it take
pretty
you to platinum?
It's hard to judge because I
It depends on
once
the
I
game.
got it, I beat Metal Gear Solid 2, and then I kind of put it down, and then I came back to Metal Gear Solid 3 a long while ago. So
Well, it depends on the
So-
game, because like 3 is really easy to platinum because the trophies you can do in pretty much one playthrough if you know
Yeah.
exactly what to do. But 2 requires you to play all of the VR missions. It requires you to do just about everything in that game, get all the dog tags. I don't know how you pulled
Yeah.
that one off. That's fucking
Was there
hard.
any one trophy that like stood out to you as being super hard?
the VR missions in general were really hard because at the end, if you're good at the game, none of the VR missions are incredibly hard, but at the end there's a bottleneck with a few like 5 really hard VR missions, and it kind of drove me a little bit crazy, but I got through it and I got my trophy, and I feel like I'm a better person for it, you know.
Yeah,
Are you
I've
like
never-
Rocky running up the stairs?
Now I'm Snake rolling up the stairs, but then he goes "Arr!" because you can't roll upstairs.
Oh, I love doing that.
Yeah, but they fixed that in the future games. You can now roll up anything. You're a monster now.
Then he says Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. All right.
Kenzo, let's talk about your game.
I have been playing Shogun 2, going the trend of cheap shit off Steam. So like, I mean, it was like $7.50 or something. So I bought that. It's I'm late to the party, but
So what kind of game is it?
it's an RTS game where you're a general in feudal Japan and you're just doing your shit and taking over, neighboring provinces and shit and stuff.
Well, the thing about the Total War series is not only is it like the real-time strategy of on the battlefield, you're controlling the troops, telling them where to go.
It's
You
kinda
also
like
have a civ part where you're building, relationships and provinces and making money and stuff like that.
it's pretty cool. You have like a family, you can adopt kids, you can marry off your daughters to like rivals in order to become friends with them. I'm enjoying it a lot, but it's really, really hard. Like,
I have never played it. I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, give it a look. Take a look on the video. You haven't really played much of these games anyways. Like, you haven't played Civ before, right?
Right.
And you don't really play much RTS games like StarCraft or anything, right?
I used to play
Dawn of War.
that Lord of the Rings game on 360.
Battlefield Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
Quest.
Yeah. I did like that. They shut down the servers though. It was an EA game, so EA shuts down all their old game servers, so you can't play it anymore.
Wah, 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 brr.
Yeah, I had fun with that game. I
Worst
wasn't
company
I
very
hate
good
it
at
when
it.
that
America.
happens.
Worst company in America.
Yeah, EA was recently voted worst company in America. That's right.
By who?
The
By
world.
idiots.
Raiders.
Alligators?
Yep,
Idiots.
alligators.
Alligators. Sorry.
Well, alligators felt very strongly about EA, so they learned how to use the internet, and then they voted.
My mama says that alligators are ornery because they ain't got no toothbrush to clean all them teeth.
Medulla oblongata.
Bundula, oh my god, yeah.
Oh boy.
I remember the Water Boy.
Me too.
I actually
Well, obviously
don't like
you
that
don't.
movie, so.
You don't like that movie?
I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was fine.
It was funny. I saw the movie like twice in the theater.
Well, that's
a
kind of
lot-
weird.
That's a lot of huh.
I saw it with one friend, and then I went and saw it with another.
Oh.
I like the Fonz in that movie. He's funny.
So speaking
He's, like,
of college
completely weird.
sports, I hear you guys have been playing Flight Simulator.
What?
And
No,
the
really,
Titan
though.
Quest.
Exactly.
We're just gonna move on because that was such a forced transition. We're just gonna go with it. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
speaking
this
of-
morning.
So speaking
Yeah.
of Flight Simulator, the Water Boy.
No, seriously, you've been playing
So-
Flight Simulator. Tell me about how that is. I used to love those games.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's right now it's free to play on Steam, and you can download it, and basically you get 2 planes and the whole of the Big Island in Hawaii.
It's called Microsoft Flight.
Yeah. But
I just picked up the $20 Hawaii pack so I can fly around all the islands.
You're
I
gonna
just
look
spent,
for
like-
yourself playing the game.
I already did. I just flew around Oahu.
Inception.
Flightception, yeah.
Yeah, it was it's a good looking game. When you get up close to the ground, the textures look like crap.
So, well, it's a Flight Simulator game, but like,
Yeah, I mean, from up high it looks amazing, obviously.
so
Yeah,
you
we
said
were.
I'm sorry, you said it's free to play, but you bought a pack. So like, is that how this model is going?
Yeah.
You can buy I think you can buy the Hawaiian Islands for $20. And then I think planes are like $7 each.
Yeah,
Right,
well,
uh,
I think
Drew?
you can get like the Hawaii starter bundle, and I think it's like $30. You get all of the other islands other than the Big Island, and then you get 3 different planes, including the P-51 Mustang, the Mitsubishi Zero, and another plane that I didn't know prior to reading about it or seeing it on there.
But when you fly over the island, don't you crash?
So wait, really? Is there anywhere
see,
else I can play
because
than
Lost?
Hawaii? Yes.
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let me check. Drew, you talk.
What was the question? It went
Can
by
I
pretty
play
quick for me.
somewhere else than Hawaii? Is there other?
I don't think so,
maps
not
yet?
yet.
Okay.
I don't think so. That's kind of one of the things I was telling Mark was that I would really like to fly over like the Rockies or fly up the West Coast of the United States or the East Coast or something else.
It's just
East
fun and
Coast.
relaxing flying around,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was telling my wife when I was sitting there. I was like, oh gosh, this is just relaxing.
Speaking of
Those games-
flying around on the East Coast, like one of my guilty pleasures as a kid was just to like fly around and then crash into buildings.
9/11.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah, I would do that in Ace Combat. There were these two towers in the second level of Ace Combat 2, I think, that I would fly between. It was weird.
That was like the first thing I thought about in 9/11 is like, just like my games.
I bet
Yeah.
you did that at a store in front of someone that you shouldn't have done it in front of.
Yeah, of course, but that was back before that became taboo.
I just remember playing, like, it may have been like the original Flight Simulator or something, but I think you could design your own plane, and I would make these planes with these huge ailerons on them and shit, and it was just neat. Then I actually remember also playing, did you ever play like Falcon, like way back when?
The only flight game that I have ever enjoyed is Crimson Skies on the Xbox,
That was alright.
and I loved that game.
Was that the bundled one?
It was.
That's not
The-
really a flight simulator, but yeah, that game is great.
Yeah, it's not a sim. But it is flight.
Yeah, kind of. Well, and for me, like one of the things that's kind of on my bucket list is I would like to eventually get my pilot's license someday, just because it just there's something about it that appeals to my so to a certain part of my personality. I don't know what it is.
You want to fly.
Yeah, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
Do you think
like
about
an
it every
eagle.
night and day?
Spread your wings and fly away.
I don't know the song, so I can't keep this up.
Okay, that's probably good. I was gonna say if we keep going, we're gonna have to pay royalties or something.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
but-
who
No,
you
I don't
gonna
know.
call.
Final thing on Microsoft Flight is it's fun. It's free to play, so you should definitely download it off of Steam and check it out.
And you can do kind of multiplayer.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
just
were.
pop. Actually, it was annoying. This was one thing. Annoying thing is you have to go through Xbox, not the Xbox,
Windows
but
Live.
games for Windows Live
Ah.
thing, which is it's annoying.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool because we were flying around Mauna Kea, which is the
Mount Monkea.
which is the tallest mountain on the Big Island. And the interesting thing about that is that even though it's like 13,500 feet, since it's basically a volcano that has arisen out of the Pacific Ocean,
Mauna
from
Kea.
Mauna Kea,
Mhm.
but since it has risen out of the ocean from like its actual base at the bottom of the sea to the summit, it's like it would dwarf Mount Everest. It's just that tall. So anyway, I found that kind of interesting when I was reading about it.
It's fun. You should check it out.
Yeah, no harm, no foul on if you don't like it, it's free.
Mark and I played a little Titan Quest also.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we did. After last week's talk about Paths of Exile, Drew, I don't want to hear it.
I know.
Yeah,
I
Torchlight
know.
over there.
You
I know.
only like Torchlight and nothing else.
I know. For me, I just don't feel I don't feel what is so similar about the two. It just feels like an MMO to me.
How does that feel like an MMO?
I don't know. It does to me.
Ooh, speaking of MMOs, Star Fox.
Let's not speak of MMOs.
What have you been
No,
playing?
I want to
lately?
hear.
We've been playing a free-to-play one.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I think
played
that's
that.
the theme of this. What games we've been playing? They're either cheap on Steam still, or they're free to play.
I mean,
Or
unless
I'm
Gabe
psycho
Newell
about it.
wants to give us all Steam Press accounts,
Yeah, exactly.
which I would
Wink,
be
wink,
totally
nudge, nudge.
cool with. And I know Gabe Newell listens to this podcast.
Yeah, he listens to everything.
Gabe Newell is the internet.
Well, you
But
gotta
Kenzo.
do something other than making games. Jeez.
You mean other than not making Half-Life?
Exactly. Yeah, but me and you, Dark Fox, have been playing some Star Trek Online. Woo!
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't play
and-
much because I spent most of my time creating a character and then having it say character creation failed.
That was really
I did
weird.
that like 20 times in a row until eventually I just had to make a generic default character and then it finally went through. It was really
Maybe I was
annoying.
trying to tell you something.
And then I got to the part where you get on your ship, and I named mine the USS Stargate SG-1, and then I quit playing.
So you just played those few hours to troll Star Trek?
Pretty much.
That game was not fun. Don't see why you guys. If that game
You
was
barely
not
played. I don't think that's a fair assessment, Jake.
If that game was not Star Trek, I don't think Ken would like it, or
I am
David.
freely admitting that.
I
The
think
thing
they
is
would
that
hate it.
it's not a shitty game. It's just not remarkable. But because it's Star Trek, it allows us to play it.
The gameplay is kind of
I
awful.
don't care.
No, well, I haven't played a lot of MMOs, so I'm not going to use the MMO card. That is just like every other MMO.
It is just like
but
every other
since-
MMO.
Right, I could sort of sense that because I played like 18 minutes to WoW, and I didn't know what to do, and then I stopped playing, and then my 30 days went up, and I didn't keep on playing. So this is like the first MMO I've put in a few hours into, and it's definitely interesting. I think I get why people obsess over MMOs, but I don't think it's my type of game. I play mostly because of the Star Trek connection. I could Kenzo already want to play it.
You play it because it has data.
It
It
actually
doesn't,
doesn't
as
have
far as I
data.
know.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet.
I thought you said that it did, and because you said B4 became data in this.
They mention that stuff in the background. I think maybe like he might show up off camera or something, but
Okay, so you play this because Spock does the intro.
not really. Actually, both Spocks
Not
do
really.
the intro.
That's the reason why I play Civ 4.
Because Spock did the intro.
Well, and all the voiceovers.
But yeah, it's
You play Civ 4 because Spock does the intro to Star Trek.
honestly though, like Star Trek Online, it's kind of like a middling game, but like if you are a fan of Star Trek, it's actually really fun and entertaining to see what they do.
Is there any
Yeah, and-
Enterprise connection?
Yeah, you can actually fly around in the original Enterprise from the Enterprise show.
Can you save trip?
Nope. Spoilers.
No dice.
I knew about Trip. Another interesting aspect is that if you're a fan of the series, it supposedly takes place, canonically, like a few years after the end of like the TNG saga, like the TNG era. So you kind of see where the races end up. It turns out humans start fighting the Klingons again. That's like the main storyline in the game, that humans and Klingons are fighting.
And there's like just about everything in that game has some kind of connection to something somewhere. So you're constantly assaulted with like references that are just, if you're a big fan of Star Trek, like you'll understand all these things. And it's
So
just,
the Romulans got what they wanted?
no, they got their planet blown up.
Yeah, don't you like the 2009 Star Trek though so much?
I do.
Yeah.
So you should know about that.
So
But the Romulans were just trying to get the Klingons and the Starfleet to fight each other.
Maybe, but only to get their own,
To their
only
own
to
end.
further their own gains.
Yeah.
It's not like the ultimate goal was to make them fight, And they're like, oh, they're fighting, time to lay back, we won.
Well, they want to watch.
there's all sorts of
Right, yeah.
Place your bets.
there's all sorts of crazy stuff that happens in this game. Tie back to like some of the most obscure TV show like episodes.
Is Worf in it?
He's mentioned. I haven't seen him yet. Maybe.
Yeah, so basically during the menus loading screens, sometimes they have tooltips in the bottom to give you like a quick tutorial about something, and sometimes they're actually like a fun fact about the universe. Like I read about Ambassador Picard. He helped do some sort of treaty between somebody and somebody else, and also heard about something
There's
Senator Worf or
actually-
something. I don't know.
It's actually like an entire like not encyclopedia, but like kind of like a history book of like all the stuff that's categorized and like novelized that you can read in game from the Starfleet Academy.
Is all of this canon?
Really?
No.
It can be if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that if they made another Star Trek series, they just do their own thing. They wouldn't pay attention to this game.
That's typically how Star Trek handles its stuff. It's not like Star Wars.
I don't
It's
think they'll-
authoritative.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do another Star Trek series for a very long
They've actually
time.
been in the talks of like trying to make one like recently,
Well, yeah. I mean, now would be the best time since the new movie came out and was a giant hit.
but it's,
Well, if they're gonna do that, they need to redo the old series then.
I think this is
Well,
Or you know what I mean with Kirk and Spock and
I don't know because then
Well,
it would have to have the
different actors.
Actors, yeah,
this is a good segue into what we plan on talking about later, don't you think?
maybe.
I think we should just go for it.
Well, before we jump into that, I wanted to say regarding Titan Quest, I am going to go ahead and download that again just to give it another shot.
I will say that I like Path of Exile more,
These are all
Okay.
Diablo clones, in case you don't know what they're talking
Yes.
about.
and I pre-ordered Diablo 3 because I like Path of Exile.
Cool.
We're gonna start playing that again because I got a beta access email.
Yeah, and you can now buy your way into the beta. It gets you $10 of their in-store credit, but it also gets you a beta code. So I'm thinking about doing that. Or you can spend $1,000 and get all sorts of crap that you don't really want.
Path of Exile is a free play game,
Kickstarter.
It
but in
is.
beta,
Yes.
closed beta.
Yes. We talked about this last week.
Basically, it's their version of Kickstarter right now, and eventually it will be up on Kickstarter, I guess.
Oh, and apparently one of my main complaints from last week was not true, where you have to click and drag all items to sell. You can actually shift click. But to be fair, they did not explain any of that.
Yeah, and Drew,
Whichever,
Totoro.
either one.
Totoro was saying that it would be cool if you could buy something so that you could easily transfer items between characters, and your stash transfers all your items between all your characters. You share the stash
Automatically.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was thinking about, like, I think I was talking about it, and I said, Torchlight, you have a shared stash, and then you have, like, a private stash.
Yeah, you have a shared stash.
Yeah.
All right.
And
anyway.
And maybe a mustache.
So...
Those are the best kinds.
So, speaking of mustaches, Star Trek.
Oh, that glorious Riker stash.
Yeah. Remember when he didn't have one?
He has a beard.
Well,
it's not a stash.
The reason we want to talk about Star Trek and get David and Kenzo here is because X, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, you finished Enterprise.
I did, and that is the best Star Trek series.
Yeah, there's some backstory here because Kenzo tried to get him to watch TNG, and he watched a bunch of it, but like begrudgingly, like he didn't want to watch it.
No, I went into it with an open mind, and he warned me that the first 2 seasons were bad, and he was not wrong. But then the season 3, I mean, it got better, but it was still really slow and kind of boring.
I just think you don't like the pace that TNG typically likes to set. Like, they're not about your favorite show. Basically, is Stargate, where there's constantly like physical confrontations.
I don't think I'd say that's my
when it comes to
favorite
these kind
show,
of
but
shows.
yes. But
in this context,
but I like Game of Thrones, and you don't.
No, I never said that.
But there's
not
a lot of action in Game of Thrones, but there's a lot of tension.
But it's all like character development and talking, and it's.
Well, TNG isn't so much about character development.
And I like Breaking Bad and all this other stuff.
The thing is, TNG is it's almost like a show from another era. From now, the other shows made now, they're almost always like a sequential, right? The story leads to the next episode almost always. TNG has like that reputation of like every episode being almost like a play, almost standalone.
Yeah, standalone.
So you could miss a handful of episodes and then watch one episode and be fine with it.
That was one of the reasons why I liked Enterprise, because there was definitely an overarching story that connected every episode.
Yeah, and Next Gen doesn't have that very much. And I understand a lot of your like complaints with Next Gen, and I think it's fair, like from today's standard, but like standards of like what people enjoy in TV. But I still love it. It's not my favorite, but I still love it.
The last episode of Next Gen I watched was the one with Scotty, and I did like that episode.
The episode was fun.
But the episode right before that was awful.
Next Gen is very uneven, and like some episodes are really, really good, and some of them are just kind of dumb and like middling, and some are just awful.
But I liked most of the Enterprise episodes.
I'm not
even liked
surprised
the
by
final
that, but
episode.
that's a very how do you say?
I even liked the one that was about his dog, his sick dog.
Nobody likes that episode.
I liked that episode.
I liked it too, but
you see, his dog got sick, and the entire episode was about his sick dog.
It wasn't just about his sick dog. The episode was about him learning how to prioritize, and he's a captain of the ship. He can't be obsessed over the sick dog. He needs to
put his feelings aside for the greater good.
Yeah,
the greater good.
The greater good.
The feelings of a bunch of dogs are more important than just one dog.
If had it been a puppy,
what you're saying
they would have went to war.
So what you're saying though is that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
See, you have to let someone else say or the one. Come on.
Yeah.
In that episode, he brought his dog to the planet, and then the dog peed on a sacred tree.
So everyone got pissed off.
When it was there, the dog also got sick from a pathogen that doesn't affect anyone but dogs.
And he spent most of the episode in sickbay worrying about this dog, as opposed to like trying to calm the diplomatic tensions with this other alien species.
And the dog,
that sounds weird.
Most of the episode, the dog was in like a coma, submerged in this liquid.
Like back
It's future surgery. Come on.
So
like Starship Troopers.
So I just think this needs to be pointed out. Data never gave a shit about Spot.
What? No,
he did.
He couldn't.
Well,
he doesn't have emotions.
No, well, I'm just saying it wouldn't have happened quite the same way.
I'd say that Data cares as much about Spot as he does about Jordy, really.
Really?
Meaning that they're just life forms that he cares about because he's a good guy.
But Lore isn't.
No, Laura's a poopy head.
Poopy.
So you watched. You're almost done with TNG. You're pushing through it. I don't understand. I don't think you should. But if you haven't liked it up to this point, season 7.
I'm so close to the end.
Season 7 is not that great of a season.
How many
really
seasons were
disappointed
there?
after
Just
6.
7. I'm
Okay.
I think 5 episodes into 6.
Season 7.
6 is great.
Season 7 is the season that they started showing Deep Space Nine at the same time. So you could really tell. You can really tell that the writers were spread thin. Right? Like they took writers
They
off
should
of
have hired
Next
more
Gen.
writers.
Well, I mean they did, but I mean like a lot of good writers ended up going over to Deep Space Nine. They're working on multiple scripts more than they should have. It's just not as good of a season.
But you say Deep Space Nine is better than
Because
Next
it
Gen.
is.
I watched the first episode and I thought the main dude looked weird because he wasn't bald.
Because he was
and didn't have a goatee.
black. Fucking racist.
No,
Well, he
because
gets to go later, doesn't he?
I've seen episodes of it before where he was bald and had a goatee. So seeing him with hair and without the goatee was weird.
So
It's
it's like
Riker syndrome.
yeah,
It'd be
it's,
like
it's,
if
it's
Picard-
Riker without the beard.
Or Picard if he had a big giant afro.
So
There are episodes that show
for all the
Picard was
reasons
better.
that you like Enterprise, having like kind of like an ongoing story, having more character development. That's why That's why when you first started watching Next Gen, I was like, don't watch Next Gen, please watch Deep Space Nine. I know you'll enjoy that show more because it does a lot more like modern things that people enjoy in the TV shows.
And isn't Deep Space Nine all about like the overarching story?
I mean, like it probably has the best character development, the best characters, the best overarching story of any Star Trek.
What
that
about?
sounds perfect for Jake.
I've never seen an episode of Voyager.
Voyager is
like?
Deep Space. No,
I
Voyager is
love
Next Gen Part
Voyager.
2. In terms of like the
So
style,
it's all just standalone.
it's a bunch
episodes.
of standalone episodes. It's
But they're great.
entertaining, but
Bunch
I
of
mean
lady
it's,
captains.
it's basically like more Next Gen, and it is slightly more like action oriented, so you might find it more entertaining. But if you want something with an ongoing
they
plot,
yell at each other a
need-
lot.
you need Deep Space Nine. Besides, it has Quark. Holy shit!
So does Buffy.
No.
Same actor,
But
yes.
he's not playing Quark.
Oh, he's playing Snyder.
Quark is the best. Trust me on this.
I know Snyder is pretty good.
Can I say that Star Trek sort of slowly blew my mind a bit? Because
Slowly.
yeah, because I started watching it and I thought it was fine, right? It didn't really blow my mind immediately. I thought it was a cool show. But after like a season and a half in, I had watched. I really started to like it. I think it's because got used to fluffy plot lines. Watching so much anime and playing so much video games. I got used to like these plot lines that don't have any substance and they have kind of crappy endings. They just need to wrap up because they already, they filled their quota of like the fight scenes or of the levels in the game. And I think Star Trek sort of, threw me back that this is how stories are supposed to really be told, Like everything has a purpose, and when it ends, it has like a resolute ending. Doesn't stay open ended for some bullcrap reason, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like Star Trek.
But you're able to do that without having every episode just be so just episode of the week.
I think you're speaking.
I thought Stargate does that
do
too.
it. Stargate
It does,
is basically like a knockoff Star Trek
But
in a lot of respects.
but Stargate does have an overarching story.
Star Trek does to a degree.
And there is character development
degree.
and there's like planetary development. Because as the show goes, Earth gets more and more advanced.
See, this is why I think you would like Deep Space Nine, because in a lot of respects, it's a very similar show.
I don't know, does it have Teal'c?
It has Quark. It has Odo.
Does it have a guy that says "Indeed"?
It has Odo. Odo's a cool guy. Odo has a cool voice.
Does it have
It's
MacGyver?
Worf.
Dr. Daniel Jackson?
His heart is not Klingon.
Anyways, I think you should give that one a look if you're so inclined.
What about the original
Don't
series?
watch the original series.
Oh, okay. I was
Only
gonna
if you're
say
brave.
the original series is like I mean, I grew up like watching the original series, and then kind of when I was younger, probably about 7 or 8, when probably about 6 or 7 was when the Next Generation started, and I have a lot of fuzzy memories of like hanging out with the family and watching the Next Generation like every Sunday or whatever.
I remember I watched the first episode of Next Gen, the first airing of it.
Yeah, me too.
I had to be
Counter.
like 5 years old or something.
Yeah, because I think that
Do
was
you have any memory of
87.
it?
So I was 6.
I remember thinking, wow, this looks so much more advanced than the original series, than the old Star Trek.
But it's
Well,
still...
you were critical.
I was like, wow,
No.
this is like the future.
I mean, it really was at the time. When I remember watching it, that informed a lot of like my opinions on what sci-fi was, what the future should be.
Mm-hmm. When I remember, like, even before that, that's something that, kind of links, my mom, my dad, and my brother, just sitting down and watching, like, old episodes of Star Trek or watching, the movies.
Same here. Every time a new movie would come out, that was like
So-
an event for my family.
Yeah.
Even Nemesis?
Even Nemesis, sadly.
Well, no, not...
Wait, you went to go see Nemesis with your
Yeah.
mommy and daddy?
I saw
That
Nemesis in the
sounds
theater.
so dismissive the way you said that, or David. I'm sorry. It was like, mommy and daddy. No,
Sadly,
it's like,
yes. I mean, like,
Sorry.
I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I was like, I think I was an
You
adult by
know-
then, but
You know,
Yeah.
Well,
Bane
that's fine if
played-
that's family bonding.
Bane is the Picard clone.
Yeah, I
Tom Hardy.
realized while watching, I was like, wait, isn't that guy? And it was him.
Yep,
was
it was
really,
that guy.
movie. I had a lot of problems, but it was
I remember it being enjoyable.
yeah, it was
enough.
okay. It just wasn't well thought out.
I actually really liked Insurrection when I saw it. It was just like a longer. It was just a longer TNG.
I've never
episode.
seen
I
Insurrection.
don't.
When I saw that movie at the theater with my friend Mark,
Cheese Mark.
he said,
Mark and Mark?
No.
"No, yeah, Mark and Mark. My friend Marcel, I would call him Marcel.
Marcy?
So my friend Marcel, we came out of the theater. He was like, "So that movie, it was about Int and his erection."
Wait, I don't
Oh,
get
man.
it. He said it was about insurrection.
It's about Int's erection.
Direction. Yeah.
It's about a guy named Insurrection.
Yep.
Oh, I
See,
get it
it's
now.
funny because
Oh,
it's Int,
role reversal.
and he has a boner, hence he has an erection.
Yeah.
High five,
Int's
Mark.
erection.
High five.
Don't you feel like
Grown.
you went
I
over to
feel
the dark
dirty
side or
now.
something?
I feel
Yeah.
really dirty. I don't think I'm ever gonna do that again.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No, I remember.
Search
A lot
your
of those
feelings.
TNG movies were
You
kind of
know it to
dumb,
be
but
true.
if you looked at
No.
them, like you said, as like an episode of a TV show, they weren't bad.
But you know,
They could have been
no,
a lot
and
better.
I-
though.
it's. But you know, the overarching story in like TV shows, like sometimes it turns me off. Not the way like in X-Files. I hated all the mythology episodes, but I liked all the standalone episodes.
Yeah.
That's because X-Files wasn't really a show about the character development. It was just
Because
about
X-Files
like the
was
interesting
retarded.
stuff.
That's right. I said it. That show's stupid.
I'd say the first 2 seasons of X-Files are pretty
I
bad.
mean, I love that show. I enjoyed it.
I
but
was
it
gonna say those
dumb.
are like the only ones I've seen.
I actually,
Spooky
I
motor.
think my favorite seasons of that show are the ones without Mulder.
What?
I'm weird. The ones
It
that have
just got-
1000.
It just got
I like
really
those
ridiculous
seasons.
after a certain time when
Oh yeah.
Scully, after basically being like abducted and then having
Being
like
being on a
yeah,
spaceship.
and having an
Antarctica.
alien baby inside her is like, no, I don't believe in aliens. Like, fucking A.
And seeing all this
Are
oil
you fucking
do
kidding
stuff.
me? You're still doing this? Like, I know that's just kind of their formula, but it's just beyond retarded after a certain point.
Well, by
Did
the
you like
time
the
Robert
newest
got there,
X-Files
I
movie?
refuse to watch that.
The newest one? That newest one
saw it.
is
It was kind of useless.
terrible. You know how all like the worst episodes of X-Files were like the religious episodes? This is like a giant one of those.
I
and it's
enjoyed it.
about like stem cells or something.
I hated the new movie. I thought the first movie was good for what it was, but this one was just awful. Did it have Billy Connolly in it?
Mm-hmm. You played like a religious preacher dude.
I like Billy Connolly. They totally misused him.
You remember to begin the first movie when the building blows up?
Yep.
That part was great.
Yeah, John Locke was there.
John Locke was in an
Yeah,
That was
episode
John
of
Locke.
Star
Oh my
Trek,
god, it was.
by the way.
I can see his face now.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
played.
what's his face?
John Locke was in several episodes of the X-Files and the X-Files movie, all playing different characters.
He played
Yep.
Riker's old captain, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Was it
it
Pegasus?
directly involves the final
God.
episode of Enterprise.
Yeah, we should talk about
Oh,
I'll
that.
just go briefly here.
Okay, I've not. I was gonna say I've not watched an episode of Enterprise.
So
So
Enterprise.
Me neither.
Like, do you care
anything
about spoilers?
I don't care.
Do you know what?
enough
Do
about
you know what
spoilers.
Enterprise
I'm gonna
is?
explain
Like
here
the
for a second.
synopsis.
And Yeah, NX-01. It's the prototype.
The very
the
first
So
Enterprise.
it's
The very first, yes.
Enterprise, and the whole show takes place before there's even a Federation. There's a Starfleet, but it's strictly
Mhm.
Earth. Like this is, and the NX-01 is Earth's first like long distance spaceship, and they're exploring the stars for the first time. And
This takes place 100 years after the events
and 100
of
years
First Contact.
before the original
So
show.
after Zephyr Cochrane.
And so it's about
Okay.
it's basically about like this original crew like discovering a lot of what becomes the very core like Federation worlds. Like they meet they've been in long talks with the Vulcans for a long time, but they meet the Andorians, they meet the Tellarites, a lot of other like very standard Star Trek aliens.
Klingons.
Isn't aren't the Vulcans the one who pick up the warp signature
Yeah.
from the Zephyr Cochrane
Yes.
flight?
Yeah, and then
God, I'm such a fucking nerd.
the Vulcans kind of held Earth back for 100
They
years.
don't really hold them back,
Oh,
but
really?
they don't really share technology with them. And for a long time, Earth is just really frustrated by this because
Yeah, they don't really. A lot
they
of them
don't understand
do not like
why
Vulcans.
like these Vulcans don't help them out. But at the same time, like during the show, you see a lot of reasons for why they did what they did because like
Yeah, Archer starts out like hating Vulcans, and so does Trip. But then by the end, they all like them and they understand
Because,
why
I
they did
mean,
what they did.
humans really were just too immature when they first stumbled upon them to like give them a bunch of technology to use, right?
Yeah,
So
we
they-
ended up killing each other.
And there was also
yeah,
no
so the
Prime
show
Directive.
sets up like ideas like why the Prime Directive was developed, why they do this, and the whole show is about basically how the formation of the Federation in its early days. And
Yeah, there was actually an episode about the Prime Directive
I
that I,
hated
really
that
liked.
episode, but whatevs.
I liked it.
It was just kind of heavy-handed, but
It was, but well, I guess I should explain it a little bit. There was a planet that had two species on it, two sentient species, and one of them was getting sick, and the other one wasn't, and it was because the other one was going to go extinct, and the other one was going to become the dominant species. Only humans could have saved them. Only then that wouldn't have been the natural order.
and
so
not
they
just
didn't.
that, but like the dominant species that was like slowly dying off, like they used the other species as kind of like slave class, and they purposely kept them back, and they made it sound like they were
Yeah.
retards, but it was pretty clear that they had higher capacities.
Yeah, they were capable of learning more and being smarter than the other race.
So that was that was an episode, one of many, talking about like why they developed the Prime Directive, but through the whole show.
Anyway,
When you dumb it down, it does sound pretty like kind of
Well, it sounded
Like-
like they did the smart idea. Why would they even consider saving the other one then?
because that's
Because there's
Well, it
millions
gets-
of people
it
asking
gets
for
really-
help because they're all dying.
Well, they only
Yeah, but
learn
they're
they're
assholes.
assholes afterwards.
Even the kids.
But it gets really heavy-handed at the end when Archer is having like a monologue to himself, like, you know what, we should have some kind of like Prime Directive where we know.
No, he didn't say prime. He
Oh,
said there should
God.
be
Oh,
some. He said, I
God.
wish there was some
Yeah,
sort of directive.
that could inform how we deal with these kind of situations.
Yeah, that kind of made my eyes roll. That part.
We need some sort of heaven
Pretty much.
outside of yours, some
But,
outer heaven.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's a really interesting show in the sense that you have these people out exploring, like doing real exploration, and then like learning how to deal with these things with that for the first time because they don't have these directives to inform their actions.
And Archer kind of changes throughout the series too. I mean, at first he's all like super naive and
Because
happy and
he sees
outgoing,
himself
just
as an
exploring.
explorer first and foremost, right? Like an astronaut.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
super naive, and he keeps getting attacked every 2 seconds. So by the end of it, he's
Who's
all
not paranoid?
and is always ready.
He just becomes
always ready to
he becomes
fight.
your prudent
Well,
Star
he-
Trek captain,
wiser.
Any ship he comes across, he's like, go to
No,
red alert
but
or
he
whatever.
he doesn't start like the first
Razor
couple
shields.
episodes.
Well, there is
The
no
first couple
shields.
episodes,
Oh.
he
Polarize the hull plating.
he greets people by like, here, have like a database of like all our knowledge and stuff. And,
Earth is right
and
here. Go
instead,
talk to us.
By the end, he wisens up. It's like, all right, say hello.
Well, at the end of season 2, a big probe comes to Earth and kills 7
Including
million
you.
people.
Don't
No.
they cut through like Georgia and Florida?
I
All right,
I think it
Star
was
Fox
mostly
is dead.
Florida,
I mean,
probably, and Ron
Nah,
too.
survive.
Okay, so
Nice knowing you.
okay, so but I want to kind of bring this back to you were saying like how the end of Enterprise
Okay,
ties into the thing with the
so
Pegasus.
the
Okay, yeah.
5 minutes of spoilers, even though we've been spoiling
So
a crap ton. This is
Yeah,
so
spoiler for the end of
Enterprise,
the show.
it's clearly going
Go.
to this place where they're setting up the formation of the Federation, but the show gets canceled early. So the last episode, they skip ahead like 6 or 7 years to when they're finally ready to, sign the Constitution, and
Yeah, this was their 10th year out there. They mentioned that they
so
can't believe it's been 10
they're
years.
going about doing this, and then you take over.
Okay, and then they're talking about going back to Earth to sign this treaty that would eventually lead to the Federation, and then someone on the crew turns around and it's Riker, and then he says, "Computer freeze program."
Oh, okay.
So they're on the holodeck.
Oh,
This entire episode
And
is
then-
framed
So-
as Riker exploring the events of this Federation charter.
To help him decide if he should tell Picard about the other ship or not. The ship that had the cloaking. Technology on it.
Oh, what? So this is
Oh.
actually a prequel into that season of TNG?
It's in the
So
it's
in
in
this
the middle of
episode-
that episode.
Riker has kind of like a crisis of loyalty, yeah.
Loyalty.
To
Loyalty.
his
Who
old
he should
captain,
be
who's
loyal
now an
to.
admiral. If you follow the chain of command, he needs to take this guy's orders, but he's doing some risky business. Clearly, it's against the law.
And it's against their treaty
Things
with
who
the,
aren't
the
necessarily
Romulans.
people you should
Romulans.
trust, but if you're honorable people, you need to.
But you don't want to go
And
and
possibly
break the
start a
treaty
war.
that they have.
But yeah. So he's deciding this entire time they're trying to find this old ship with like a prototype like cloaking device, and he's under orders not to tell
Yeah,
Picard,
and-
and he's like, should I tell Picard? Should I not tell Picard?
So he goes back
Right.
to see what. For some reason, he goes back here and tries to get advice from them for some reason. And he does, but in the event, he's like skipping around in time. He's like saying fast forward 10 hours or whatever. So they do this, and then they end up killing like the best character on Enterprise in that episode. And Star Trek is kind of known for not killing any of the main characters.
Well,
no, well,
And
it
it
damn
happened in
near
the
happened
movies.
in the Next Generation, though.
Sort of. Well, yeah, I guess.
So who killed them? Some sort of
And it happened
rogue
in
alien
Deep Space
species trying
Nine,
to sabotage
spoilers.
the signing?
Well, there's this Andorian that his
He's a really
daughter was kidnapped.
that becomes like
So
a
he
best
goes-
friend,
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of episodes. So he goes to Enterprise and gets them to help get his daughter back, and they do. And then they're like, "There's no way that those
And this
aliens
is just
can
kind
catch
of
up to us."
yeah. This
in
is
their
just like a
ship.
detour
Only
on
they
their way
do.
back to Earth. He's like, oh, we might be late, but this guy is my best friend, so I gotta help him out.
Yeah, but then the aliens catch up, and then they get onto Enterprise, and then there's Trip, who is the best character, and then Archer, the captain, and they're saying that they're gonna kill him, and then Trip is like, "No, I'll take you
Because
to
Trip is
whatever
like,
you need."
this is the captain.
And then-
He's important. He's got to go out and like help form this federation here, and I'm just a lowly engineer or whatever. Like this guy's more important. So by like in his frame of mind, he's trying to do everything possible to like save his captain's life.
Yep.
So
Also his
what?
friend.
He sacrifices
Yeah,
himself.
he says, "Okay, we have to go in here, and then we have to do this," and then he connects these two wires, it creates an explosion, and he kills himself and them. But the thing is,
Interesting.
it didn't make any sense. They were on the ship for 2 seconds, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill myself," instead of letting the security
it makes sense,
get down there and
but
help.
like
I mean, it made sense because that's the type of character he was, where he was willing to sacrifice
he
himself
does
to
this
save
over
anyone.
and over during the show, where he basically tries to commit suicide to save other people, but he always finds a
And he even does when he gets cloned in an episode, and he does kill himself to save his clone. even
no,
though
the clone
they're two
killed,
separate
I
people.
mean, the clone who is basically himself kills himself.
Yeah, it's him, but he has some new memories, and he knows that he is different, but he does kill himself to save the other guy.
I mean, the point is though, like this is within his character, which I've read a lot of people who have been like, this comes out of nowhere, like he wouldn't do that. It's like, yes, he would.
No, he was
But
offered
it's
to do
not
it
done in a very
several times
convincing
himself.
manner because, like we just said, he's been in so many like jams where he's gotten out of like much worse situations. It feels kind of weird that he resorts to this at the drop of a hat as opposed to like trying to explore some other venues.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a last resort thing. It was like the first thing he could do.
I mean,
So basically, it feels forced.
it was forced. Like
they forced
the
it for
creators
the
have gone
finale.
on record saying like if the show had had a normal run, they wouldn't have killed his character.
But then after he dies, Riker is there, and he's fast forwarding through time, so the death is kind of, it doesn't seem like it has the weight
he talks.
it deserves.
Yeah, he talks to the character
didn't
at
affect
the very
them.
end. It's like, hey, yo, what do you think about this? And he's like, yeah, man, you should follow your heart.
But yeah, you'll do the right thing, you always do. And then he leaves. Then he walks out of the room.
Yeah, he looked old.
What did Riker look like? Did he look like an old guy?
Yeah, yeah, and so did Deanna Troi.
How stupid then.
But they did rebuild the next gen set and had that Enterprise all in HD and everything, which looked cool.
Okay. We need to take a break real soon. Any final things that we want to say about Star Trek?
Stargate is better.
It is neato.
Enterprise is the best.
Like Deep Space
Enterprise
Nine.
is the best series.
That
I'll
you've
say
seen
that
so far.
Yeah,
We'll
I would
see.
say that I'm looking forward to the next J.J. Abrams movie, but I also
okay.
think that the first one isn't really
Star Trek 2009 is the best Star Trek movie.
We need to. We're gonna have to come. We're gonna have to come back and talk about this stuff more. Because
Probably after we all watch Deep Space Nine, because that's on my backlist of things to watch.
I think you guys should just watch Stargate SG-1 instead.
I think you are a poopy head.
Okay, let's go.
It's so good.
We will be back after a break.
Warm sunshine, you my friend, I will defend. And if we change, well, I love you anyway. Every day something hits me oh so close.
Okay, and we're back. We are going to jump into a wild speculation on the movie Prometheus. We all saw the trailer here, and Jake, you're
Yes.
a big fan. You're looking forward to this,
I am.
so you go ahead.
Okay. Basically, I am going to guess the entire plot of the movie.
Go for it.
Okay, I think they find some cave drawings, which leads them to a planet. And on the planet, they wake up this alien race, which may or may not be the space jockeys, and it's clearly the space jockeys, but they'll have a different name probably. And then,
Who are the space jockeys, Jake?
in the original
Yeah.
Alien, there was a ship. You know how they go onto the moon, and there's a ship that has crashed there, and there's that big guy sitting in the chair with a hole in his chest.
And there's the
Okay,
thing.
that's
he's like,
that's the jockey.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
called the space jockey.
They're called
Why
the
is
space
it-
jockey.
Oh, okay.
That's just what they
Is that
call
something
them.
that the fans or something called it, right? Is it not like
Well,
part of
it's
the
actually
script?
in the there's
Credits.
some alien novels that I have read, and they're called the space jockeys in that.
Extended fiction.
Okay, keep
Yes.
going.
And I think they wake them up, and then they lead them to Earth, so they're waking up, and then they're gonna try to like wipe out all life on Earth, and I think they're gonna try to use the xenomorphs, which are the aliens from Aliens, and I think they start growing them. They take off, but the ship Prometheus, Prometheus is the ship that the humans are on, which is my prediction. And they've somehow forced them down onto a moon, and then all the alien eggs are laying there, and then that leads into Alien, probably
Right.
some years later.
Right, in the trailer it shows they don't show any xenomorphs, right? But
Right, they show
Did-
like a sculpture or something of one.
yeah, and they show like egg-like things. I don't know if that's actually eggs or something that's just supposed to be like symbolic or like call back to that. But they show like this goo and they imply that it's like transforming or evolving. You think that's actually what eventually becomes a xenomorph?
It could. I'm not positive that does, but I think those things that are kind of egg-shaped might become the eggs.
You know what I think?
I think you don't know what an alien is.
I know. God damn it! I've seen the fucking movies. I
Okay,
think
what do you think?
that this is just a giant troll on Alien fans. Like
How?
this is gonna be like Xenosaga, where everyone is getting excited because you have these trailers that clearly have like visual motifs that call back to Xenogears, but then in the end it has nothing to do with it and it's all fucking retarded. It was a big waste of time.
Except that it's the exact ship from Alien.
All right, they
Yeah,
had
it'd be
like
really weird.
in Xenosaga they had like the exact a lot of things are exactly the same, like the
And the
the
alien
monoliths.
looks just like the space jockey from Alien.
That doesn't mean anything. I think it's a troll.
And it's the ship.
I think it's an elaborate troll. You're gonna get to the end and be like, that had nothing to do with Alien.
Why?
This
So you
was
think they just
retarded.
randomly put in a sculpture of a xenomorph?
No,
into
nothing
the
Well, not
trailer?
random
randomly.
about it. I think it's very intentional, and I think that they're doing
So you don't
it to
think
troll their fans.
you don't think that sculpture is going to be in the movie?
It's gonna be in the movie, but it's not gonna mean anything. Like it's gonna go off at the end in like a completely different direction. You'd be like, whoa, that wasn't what I thought it was gonna be.
I think I'm
So-
going to like the movie. I mean,
I
either
mean,
way,
you
the
can
trailer
still
looks
enjoy
amazing.
the movie, but I think they're trolling the audience who expect us to have a tie-in with aliens.
Yeah, at this point, as long as the movie's cool in and of itself, I'll be happy. And in the trailer, they also show people kind of getting infected, or at least acting erratically. Like show that woman panting in front of the mirror. Remember?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the
Yes.
assumption, but
she
it-
could be an
it's
android.
It's designed to make people think that that's the case, but
Yeah, and at the end
I
of the
see
trailer,
that.
simultaneous it's a troll.
at the end of the trailer, there's a shot where I think it's the same girl, but there's some girl like on the floor, and standing right in front of her, like standing on top of her, is some dude, right? And that just
Yep.
reminded me of Event Horizon. I think Sam Neill's gonna be in this movie, and he gets infected by hell.
Oh man, that movie is so fucked up.
I've never seen all of that.
You never
I've
seen
seen
it?
Horizon's pretty
I've
good.
seen bits
You
and
should.
pieces.
Do you see the scene where they looked at the video doc of the crew before them and they all ripped out their eyes and stuff?
Yeah, that was great.
No, not really. I don't think I got that far in it.
You just ruined it, David. You ruined it for
I'm
Jake.
so, I'm
He's not gonna
No, it's
remember.
okay. I'll remember.
So I would say between Jake and Kenzo, I'm gonna side with Kenzo.
You don't think
agree with
it's
Ken-
you don't think it's going to really have anything to do with Alien?
I don't think. I think it's just gonna be this separate sci-fi thing, and that they're troll baiting aliens fans to get excited about it.
But
To go see
That'd be crazy.
the first trailer is like a remake of the first trailer for Alien.
I think that's very intentional. They're trying to make people.
Why would
like,
they not
want to
mention
watch it.
Alien in this? I know it's not about the alien.
Because
If
the
it's gonna
aliens
be a
aren't going to
prequel?
be the aliens aren't going to be in the movie.
This is
Right,
Hollywood.
right.
This is
If-
Hollywood where they'll do
I think
anything
like,
and everything
the
to make money.
Like the last shot of the movie will be an egg.
Like unless Ridley
Probably.
Scott like
Opening.
fought tooth and nail to make sure that he didn't want to spoil it and to be a like pleasant surprise that it is connected with the Alien movie. Otherwise, you're denying yourself, easy marketing for like a franchise.
Yeah, they call this like Alien Zero. Like, dude, you would have people going
Well-
insane.
Well,
Maybe, but at this point, the Alien franchise might be a little bit tarnished with the other AVPs and Alien
Yeah.
Resurrection being the last Alien. I think you could argue kind of easily that it was a smart choice to like bring it back and not
Pe-
just black.
I mean, at this
blast
Well,
point,
it
there's
imagine
as
if that
Xenomorphs.
trailer was recut and it was like before Alien learned the story
Aliens
of,
begins.
But
of,
at this
of how it began.
But at this point, there's been more bad Alien movies than there's been good ones.
Yeah, but none of them have had Ridley Scott written on the title. Like,
Well, one
people
of
are
them.
excited. People are excited. Well, yeah, but people are excited for this because it's
Because
Ridley
it looks
Scott making
because
something
it
that
looks
looks like Alien.
great.
Yeah, it looks like a good movie, but I'm saying whether it's going to be connected with Alien, I'm going to go with Kenzo and say they're just troll baiting you.
Well, James Cameron said that he would like to make the sequel.
Troll.
That does sound like a troll. That does sound like total
I think
fan
I
baiting.
think he did say it as a joke. He said
He's
he was
trying to
gonna.
make Mr. X
Drew, what do you
lose
think
his
about
pants.
this?
I don't. Well, here's what I think. I think that there's no way that it is not somehow connected to the Alien universe, because I mean Ridley Scott has all but said that it is. Whether or not it's going to have aliens in it, or the actual xenomorphs in it, to me that's almost irrelevant. If it talks about, if the xenomorphs, if this is how the xenomorphs were created by the space jockeys, fine. I'm fine with that, because I mean, I think it's in the first Alien movie, Ash, when he's torn the fuck apart, talks about, something that was created to be the perfect killing machine. So yeah, I think that's what it is, and I'm thinking that whoever the Michael Fassbender character is going to be,
Magneto.
Magneto.
No, he's going to be Magneto.
He's going to be Magneto. Well, I think in the other, like especially in the first two Alien movies, there was kind of that secretly bad person, or not so secretly bad person.
Burke.
Burke in Aliens, and then Ash in the original one. That it was kind of secretly bad. I think he's going to wind up being that secretly bad person. So, like, when I'm sitting there watching that movie, that's going to be, my eye's going to be on him all the time. But yeah, no, I think it's almost folly to think that this is not going to be, an alien movie.
Stringer Bell is in it too, from The Wire.
Right. Well, yeah. Idris Elba is in it.
Yep.
He's a great actor.
He was in Thor.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the guy with the big sword that was like the gatekeeper.
I
can't remember his name.
Are you talking about the black guy?
Yes.
I like him wearing a plaid jacket because it reminded me of Alien 1.
And a trucker hat.
Yeah, because there are truckers, like space truckers in the first Alien
he has like
movie.
a southern accent.
Yeah.
And he's chewing on a straw.
And I can't remember, is that Mary Elizabeth Winstead or is that Noomi Rapace?
Rapace.
Okay.
Wait, the girl that goes, Prometheus, are you seeing this?
Or the sickly one.
It's either the girl with the dragon tattoo, or the Swedish version, or it's the girl who played Ramona Flowers from
It's Dragon Tattoo.
Dragon Tattoo. Okay. Yeah, she's pretty good. I mean, she was good, and I think she's going to wind up being almost the Ripley type character.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
but there's also the TED Talk, that video.
Yes. Oh man, that is
with Wayland talking, and there's no way that isn't. There's no way that isn't connected to the Alien universe.
Yeah, that was hands down for me personally. That was the best piece of marketing that they've done, because that was just so great. Because Guy Pearce was basically playing one of the founders of.
Was it Charles Wayland?
Yeah, he was playing Wayland, and like I said, I think Yutani is supposed to be, is the one that Lance Henriksen played, or he played the ancestor of Yutani in like one of the Alien versus Predator movies, which would be a great callback.
And Alien 3.
And was he in the Alien 3?
Yeah.
Or was he actually Bishop?
He talks. Yeah, he was Bishop, but at the same time, at the end, he came and talked to Ripley, and then she said that he was a droid or an android, and then he said, "No, I'm a real person that the android is based on. We need you to come back." And then she jumped into the
pit.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So.
But in that TED Talk, they start talking about making synthetics.
Yeah. Well, he talks about like all sorts of shit, and he
you
goes
can have
into about the
synthetics that aren't in Alien universe.
But it's
just saying.
I think we're really brave to actually be a troll. It'd be like really audacious.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. Ridley Scott's a smart person.
For them to have
this
Wayland
is the
Yutani?
easy thing to do.
Okay, I'm gonna lay it down like this. Dakazu, Kenzo. If this is
Mark
Mark and Ken. if this is not in some way, if they don't talk about, or if it is not like definitively part of the Alien universe, if they don't talk about things like, what is LV-426?
I'm thinking that that's not the planet that the space jockeys are on originally.
Well,
because they were on that planet, it looked like they were able to breathe.
Okay, so if they don't talk about, things that are hallmarks of the Alien franchise, I will buy each of you the $60 game of your choice on Steam. I'll lay it down like that.
Is there like a counter bet? Is there like something that you can get out of them?
They can keep it like that, but that's how confident I am.
They have to bring up the company.
Oh yeah, Wayland. Yeah,
you don't have to do that.
They refer to it as all these things,
the company.
And they can still be a troll. It can still be a massive troll. Like, just because something has something's form doesn't mean that it actually is tied into
I don't know if I want to hold true to this.
I'm not holding into it, but
that's because it has the ship from Alien, it has Wayland Yutani, the company, and it has a sculpture of a xenomorph.
Well,
if you ever have any experience with Xenogears and Xenosaga, you'll know what I'm talking about. It has all of the things that have the exact same form, except it doesn't actually tie in.
But this isn't Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Well, and
Fucking
the other
racist bitch.
and the other thing that they talk about is like they're looking at, like in that trailer, the new trailer, they're looking at like the ceiling or the walls or something. They're talking about the walls looking like they're moving, which is something that the xenomorphs do, is that they hide into like the walls and shit, and they blend in.
They build up like that stuff in the wall, and then they can just appear there, and then they blend in.
So I mean, it's just there are just too many hallmarks of the franchise, and I mean the other thing is that this is the first time that they're going to be going back to essentially the creator of the franchise.
And I think it would be cool if James Cameron made a sequel,
Yeah.
since he made the
whatever.
best movie in the series.
No, he has too much work on
I-
Avatar.
Game over, man. Game over.
We're moving on. Listen, this movie comes out on June 8th. We will find out then.
Yeah, let's all
Alright.
go together.
It's going to be better than Dark Knight Rises
Possibly, I don't know.
and
I haven't
Avengers.
seen it.
Alright, so Death Race 2000.
Yeah, well, that is our movie box pick for the week, brought to
Did it-
us by Bob Loblaw. Death Race 2000.
Dave. You mean brought to us by Dave?
Yes.
Dave from last week.
aka
Yeah,
Bob Loblaw.
Dave, aka blah blah blah,
Attorney at law.
chose this really weird, crappy old movie, and he left and saddled us with it, so he doesn't
I
have to stay
like the
here. and-
movie. Did
Yeah, I
anyone here
kinda
not
like
watch
too,
it?
But it's crappy.
Well, yeah, it's definitely crappy. But did anybody here not see it?
Nope. I'll be relying on all you guys' opinions, so have at it.
So
What's this movie about?
last week he said that Ebert said that it was a terrible movie and it was just gratuitous, and Ebert was right.
Yeah,
Gratuitous
needless
Race
violence
2000.
and needless nudity, and this covered in that.
And violence. Sylvester Stallone ran over some dude's head for like no reason.
So all these things
Well,
sound
he had
like
to
good
get
things
points.
to me. Why is it bad?
Okay, there's a race from like New York to Los Angeles or something in the movie.
It's called Death Race, correct?
Yes, it's called Death Race, and you get points in the race by killing pedestrians. So anyone
Yeah.
you can, and it's like different point values. Like there's like a lot of points for kids, and then less points for men, and then more for women, and then
Yeah, I
elderly
actually got
like
a question
over
about that.
75, you get like 100 points each.
Right. So the highest points value were infant babies and old people. Was that because this was like a dystopian future where it was overpopulated and those were like the two least productive people in society?
Well,
Or
whatever.
Because
am I
It
reading
was,
too much into it?
I think it's
It
because
was
they
new.
were helpless and the most defenseless, so it was the most violent thing they could do.
I don't
Like the
know,
worst thing they could think of.
Babies, yeah, but old people, I don't know. Who feels bad about? Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say anything more, but it's
You're killing
like,
someone that can't defend themselves.
So I do this stuff in Grand Theft Auto. Why is it dumb in this?
Well, this was
because
from the
it's like a
70s,
movie with sort of a plot.
and this
but
movie
not
is from
really.
the 70s. And they all have these weird cars. Like Frankenstein, the main character, is driving around this car that looks like a giant lizard head.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone had like this military-themed car with like a combat knife and like Tommy guns as headlights.
Yeah, it had Tommy guns as headlights and that big giant knife in the middle.
Oh,
And
and he
then
knifed some guy's crotch with it. That was kind of
And-
hurtful.
when they intro his character, what was his character's name?
Machine Gun
Joe.
No, it was Turbo.
Viterbo or something.
Yeah, Turbo, yeah, something like that.
I'm
But
sorry, I
when,
didn't take notes.
when they introed his character and the audience didn't cheer, he took out a Tommy gun and started shooting the crowd.
Yeah, and the audience went boo and started running away. I don't get it.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but the leader of the Cobra Kai was in the movie from Karate Kid. He was,
Yeah, Creasy.
yeah, he was in the movie. He was one of the
He played
drivers.
Nero.
Yeah, he was the first one to die.
Yeah, well, the protagonist was like the fan favorite, some guy named Frankenstein.
Yep, Frankenstein.
And supposedly he's somebody who's patched together with robotics and like prosthetics because he's been in so many races and he's wiped out so many times. His body's like completely destroyed. But later on in the film, they reveal that he's actually a different racer every single time. He actually dies every single time he crashes. That Frankenstein actually died, and the government like raises these Frankensteins to be like the stars.
But he got a robot hand right before the race so that he could shift faster.
Yeah, that's actually true. He did actually not have a real arm. Or
Yeah,
hand.
he had a fake hand.
And
I was expecting to have some cool scenes of looking at him like robot shift, but they never even showed him shift once in the movie. That's kind of
Yeah,
stupid.
that was very disappointing.
well, it's like, and if you're on the highway and kind of rolling along, it's not going to matter how fast you can shift because when you're going along over a long distance, you're not going to be shifting that often.
Well, he can shift in less than a second.
Yeah.
Like a tenth of a second he could shift.
I think the movie's not great because, like, as far as car combat goes, they didn't have anything, like, truly interesting. It was just a bunch of violence.
The movie was hilarious.
Yeah, it was kind of funny sometimes, but, like, for the wrong reasons, maybe.
Like Frankenstein is driving by this hospital, and they wheel out all these old people in wheelchairs. So that will get him a lot of points. But instead of doing that, he goes onto the sidewalk and takes out all the nurses.
And all the doctors.
Yeah, and all the doctors. But leaves all the old people.
The scene I did like was when he killed the Pope.
Oh, yeah.
And then they said, does that count? Can he kill a race official? And then when I just got the clear, it did count. You know what that means? Race officials all across the country are going to drop like flies. I thought it was funny.
That was great.
Well, and I kind of liked how one of the race announcers was very Howard Cosell-ish.
Yeah. Oh, what about when they got to the first pit stop town?
St. Louis.
Yeah, and then it goes to them, and they're all getting massages in this big room, and everyone is just laying naked on a table.
Yeah.
For no real reason.
Yeah, for no real reason. And then those two ladies start fighting.
And
You could tell this movie did not have like the largest budget.
Well, it was Roger Corman from the 70s. That goes without saying. It didn't have a big budget.
this movie was 79 minutes long.
Oh, right. I was going to ask Totoro about that.
I enjoyed this movie immensely.
I guess the last thing about the plot is that there actually is somewhat of a plot because all the drivers have a navigator, and the main character's navigator, Frankenstein, was like a double agent placed by the Resistance because
Red Hot Navigator.
This race is settled by the government, so it's like it's a country pastime, but there's a resistance against this oppressive government that allows this crazy, competition, and she was there supposedly to kill him. But she falls in love with him, and then that doesn't happen, and then it ends. It has like the stupidest, weirdest ending. It doesn't even.
Before that, they show his hand. He finally takes his glove off to reveal his robot hand, and it's just his metal hand that can't move. And in the middle, there is a grenade.
Yeah, and it's not like a grenade
with a pin that you have to pull. It's like a grenade was put into the middle of the hand. It looks ridiculous.
And that's the second best hand grenade in the history of cinema.
Hand grenade?
What's the first best hand grenade then?
The Holy Hand Grenade from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I'll give it to you. Although this one is shaped more like a hand. And that's how he kills Sylvester Stallone's character with the hand grenade. But then, he kills the president, and then he becomes president.
Does he
Mr.
count?
Yeah, that's how it works.
And then they refer to him as
Mr. President Frank.
Mr. President Frankenstein. Which was the best.
Oh, I'm glad you guys
this movie
enjoyed
is dumb.
movie.
I didn't enjoy this movie. This movie was dumb as shit.
This movie was great.
Yeah.
Are you angry at Dave, aka blah 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 blah, for recommending this movie?
No, I hate Dave, aka blah blah blah. For
I am
recommending
thanking
this movie.
Dave.
It's just, I was sitting here watching this movie, and the only thing it reminded me of was The Running Man.
Well, yeah, it's not as good as The Running Man, let's be honest.
It reminds me of Kick
Well,
Puncher.
Some of the driving sequences are well shot, but like
No, they're not.
Well, there's something about like these old movies in the 70s about the way they film the cars that they're actually driving. Sometimes modern films, you almost feel like the cars are always CG even when they're not,
Yeah.
Where are we going with
that's
that, Mark?
what I was trying to explain.
Okay.
And
Remember when they put up the detour sign? And then they put up that archway and they had a cloth, and then they said, "Oh, great, a detour." Then they went through the cloth, and then they just drove off the side of a mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Sound like something on Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it was great.
Where were we
I
going
really
with
not
that?
tell that there was nothing behind that cloth because it was just like this. It had to be like 10 feet across or less.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Yeah,
where
Mark, where were
were
you going?
no, I was just gonna say that this movie came out in '75, and the year before, the original Gone in 60 Seconds came out. Have any of you guys seen that?
I've not
No,
seen
I
the
have not.
original. No.
What about Bullet?
That movie is amazing, and
I've
I mean like
seen-
really good
Have you seen
as far
Bullet?
as like the car action stuff.
Yes.
Oh.
I've
It
seen
puts Bullet to
and the
shame.
French,
No,
and the French
no.
Connection.
It puts Bullet to shame.
We need to just have we need to have like a
fist
whole
fight.
section.
We
Go
have to have
watch
a
it.
fist fight.
Yeah.
Drew, go watch the original Gone in 60
Okay,
Seconds and go
okay.
watch the car action because it is amazing.
I don't know. Have
It's
you seen
really well done.
Have you seen the race scene in the car chase in The Matrix Reloaded?
I like that, but
I
it's
just
not-
We're talking
it's
about
not the
for
same
its
thing.
time.
I know.
But the
Mona
the
Lisa
last
smile.
thing I wanted to say about this
The Great
terrible,
Escape.
terrible movie, Death Risk 2000,
This
is
terribly amazing movie.
it just reminded me of like the wacky characters and the race. It's like a live action
Wacky racist.
speed racer.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can give you that one.
You know, the characters have different. You know, the Hun character, the Nazi
that
character.
I thought that was almost too much.
You like the love triangle between the Nazi, the navigator, the Nazi girl, and the other girl with the horns?
The bull.
I know it's a complex scene.
Calamity Jane.
Whatever.
Oh,
I have
remember she
nothing
was
else to
the bull, and then she fought a matador.
Yeah, some idiot tried to do a matador and she killed him, of course.
Yeah, but that was ridiculous. How was she missing? He
Maybe
had the
just
little red,
showmanship.
the
He's
red
a matador.
cape, but still, it's a
Well, she
car,
was-
not a bull.
Well, she was trying to gore him with the horn.
She was aiming for the cape.
It's a
Yeah.
movie, Jake.
It's dumb.
If you're like Jake and you like really dumb, stupid movies that make you laugh because they're so dumb and terrible,
I think David liked this too.
Yeah, it was fine.
But-
I'm happy I watched it.
I'm saying like if you're like Jake or David, you will enjoy this movie. But if you just don't have like much tolerance for this kind of dumb camp, like me, you won't enjoy it.
Oh, Rodney writes in. He says Death Race 2000 is awesome. Sounds awesome.
Oh, sounds well. You should watch
Whatever. Let's talk about next week's movie box pick. Kenzo.
it. Kenzo, wake up.
What's going on?
Kenzo, wake up.
Did you do your homework, Kenzo?
No.
Kenzo-kun, time for school. Kenzo-kun, you'll be late.
Where's my toast?
I didn't
Anyways,
make toast.
so yes. Next week you will all be watching. Wait, what did we decide on?
Guyver.
Porco Rosso.
Oh, Porco Rosso. That's right.
Guyver 2.
Porco Rosso is
Starring
a
David
movie
Hayter.
made in the early 90s. No, is a movie made by Studio Ghibli and Hayao Miyazaki. And yes, it's another anime pick from Kenzo.
It is a great anime pick. It's my personal favorite Miyazaki film.
A lot of
Therefore,
people,
it's for a Ghibli film.
yeah, pick this as their favorite Miyazaki film,
Well,
so it's
people who have
well
seen
worth
it.
getting.
It's just fun adventure, man. You would like it, Totoro, because I know Totoro hasn't seen it.
I will
Yeah,
do
I've
that's
my
seen the dub and it's good too.
I will do my
I've-
best to watch it.
Yeah,
The
this is
dub
like
is Michael Keaton.
this is like one of the two Miyazakis that I've not seen, or the Miyazaki Ghibli movies, like this and Kiki's Delivery Service is the two that I haven't seen.
Are you sure you don't want to pick the Guyver 2? It stars David Hayter. He was
So-
Solid
We're
Snake.
pretty sure.
The only thing about this is not a Netflix instant streaming. You're gonna have to like
So every
go
man for themselves.
rent it and find it.
But you should be able, I mean, it should be available on like Netflix disc orders.
Is this
and
is
stuff
like
that.
Drew's pick? Drew's pick wasn't on Netflix streaming.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Correct, and I still found that and watched it.
But it's not exactly like a hard movie to find either. Most places should have it.
Yeah, Disney released the hell out of all of Ghibli films because they got in contract with them or whatever.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite ones. Not the best, but I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. We don't have to get a synopsis of it, right? We just
No,
recommend
no.
it. Okay,
Well, we'll go over it next week.
sure.
Stop licking
Okay.
my mic. I'm getting messages to stop licking my mic. That's too bad.
Yeah, because
It-
they're making weird noises. What are you doing, Kenzo?
He's
licking
licking
my
his mic.
Whatever. Mic licking aside, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. I want to thank Darfox8 and Kenzo and special guest Tumble for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox Mumble server where we hang out and talk and do the podcast. If you'd like to participate in our podcast, send a PM to either Mr. X, Totoro, or me, Dakazu, at the Geekbox forums at forums.geekbox.net. And don't forget to listen to all the other podcasts, the Geekbox, Comic Conspiracy, The Comedy Bunny, and Good Job Brain. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us. I love you.
I know you do, baby.
English out.
Aloha. Ciao.
That's not fun. Stop doing that.
Ciao.